Jumanji.
No, not
Jumanji is my text.
Traits and quality.
What's the genre? It is fiction.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Okay, we're studying fantasy. And I read aloud Jumanji to you all the other day, and I started filling out my text map for the elements of fantasy. You really like Jumanji, don't you? Today, I'm going to model for you guys how to determine the qualities or the character traits of a main character. Okay? I know you've heard of character traits before. Are we talking? Character traits have to do with what they are like on the inside. Okay? Now, I made a chart yesterday after we talked, and of course I can't find my pointer, I'll just use this one. Character traits, they describe what a character is like or their personality, the inside, okay? There are clues in the text that can help us determine a character's qualities or their traits. Those are their thoughts, what does the character think? Their dialogue, what does the character say? Their emotions, which is what Sean and Parker was thinking about, how the character feels, and then their actions. What does the character do? If we look at all of these things, their thoughts, the dialogue, the emotions, the actions, that will help us determine qualities. Okay? Your thinking was on track, but you just needed help kind of clarifying it, right? Well, I have two main characters, and we said that's Peter and Judy yesterday. I'm just going to focus on determining character traits for Peter, okay? And I'm going to look at the thoughts, the dialogue, the emotions, and the actions. I've marked a couple of pages. This is my first one. And I've already kind of noted it so that it would make things a little smoother today. There's some dialogue on this page, something that Peter says that I think can help me determine the quality. When they find the game in the park and Judy says, "Want to take it home?" He says, "Not really. I'm sure somebody left it here because it's so boring." He kind of has a negative outlook there, doesn't he? He's like, "I don't want it. It's going to be boring." So there's some dialogue there. I'm going to make a note of that. Now I'm not going to copy it word for word. I'm just going to put, instant Peter thought he was going to cry. He's thinking about crying. He's wanting to call somebody for help. He's wanting to give up. He's thinking about crying. And I have to admit, if there was a lion in my house, I might be thinking about crying too, so I'm not going to judge him.
Just get out of the house.
Just get out of the house. And the action that I wanted to know was, for an instant, Peter thought he was going to cry. Then he sat firmly in his chair and said, "Let's play." So even though he's panicked, he's wanting to call somebody, Judy told him, "No, I think we have to finish the game." And so he just kind of gets it together, and despite being scared, he's decided he's going to man it up. I like that. He's decided he's gonna play the game. He's gonna do this. He's gonna finish it. So he sat down and played. So now I want to look at all of these things and see what it can tell me about Peter and the qualities of Peter. And I started my text map yesterday, so I'm going to grab that. I've got my main characters, brother and sister, Peter and Judy. I'm going to focus on Peter today, okay? I'm going to look at the dialogue first. Somebody left it here because it's so boring. Gosh, how exciting. Can we call the zoo? Is that all? Things are leading me to believe that he's kind of pessimistic. Have you ever heard that word?
Yeah.
Pessimistic. That means somebody has like a negative outlook on life. Everything's doom and gloom. Nothing good is going to happen. I believe all of these examples of the dialogue shows that he's pessimistic. So I'm going to put pessimistic. But that's not the only quality. There's some other things that I noted. He jumps in. I'm looking at the action now. He jumps in and starts playing with the game. He's not like Judy. Judy says, no, I'm going to read about it. He jumps in and just starts playing. To me, I think that kind of shows that he's a little careless. He doesn't take time to slow down. He just kind of goes at it full speed.
Impatient.
Impatient? That might be a good word. Would impatient be better than careless? I mean, they're similar, but would you understand impatient better? You want me to use impatient? I'll use impatient. Okay. Helps if I can spell today. See, even teachers have to monitor themselves. Now, despite being kind of pessimistic and impatient, Sean said it best when he said he mans up. He does panic, but when he realized what he had to do, he did it. He sat down and he played. So that kind of tells me he's brave at the same time. I mean, he panicked at first, and who wouldn't panic if they had a lion in their house? But when he realizes what he has to do, he does it. So, yeah, he has some negative qualities, pessimistic and patient, but he's brave when he needs to be, right? So these are just some of the qualities that I found of Peter, based on the action, the things that he does, the dialogue, the things that he says, and his thoughts, the things that he's thinking or feeling. He's feeling like crying, right? Today, when you start reading your text that you chose, I want you to be thinking about, first, who is your main character? Okay, you're each reading a different text. After you've determined who your main character is, start noticing those things. What are they thinking? What are they doing? What are they feeling? Okay, what are they saying? And then you can jot those down. I'm going to give you some Post-its, and you can leave them in the book. And then after you're done reading, you're going to gather them, just like I did, and you're going to see what that tells you about them on the inside. All right, in your Sean, Just a Dream, this boy Walter, he comes home from school one day and his neighbor is watering her tree. That was actually her birthday gift. And when Walter hears this, he thinks that's the most ridiculous thing he's ever heard. Who would want a plant for their birthday? He kind of laughs it off. And he throws his trash down. Later that night when he goes to sleep, something happens that has to do with him talking with his neighbor about getting a tree for her birthday, and him just throwing the trash down. Okay? So as you're reading, be thinking about Walter. Be noticing what he does, what he says, what he thinks, what he feels. Note some of those things down, okay? And then we will together, when we come back, see what kind of qualities we think we can identify for Walter. So get started. I'm going to read with Sean first, and then I'll be making my way around, okay? Just wherever you are. Yeah, you can just put it right in there, or you can put it beside you.
Do I have to read this part? I already know.
Yeah, you're going to want to read it. It's going to give you some information that you need.
And we also put like action.
You can. I labeled it for me because that helps my thinking, and I know what kind of detail I'm looking at. I like how you're being insightful. You said I'm not sure if she's being sarcastic or if she's just, hey, because the dog's bitter. That does tell you something about Eunice. That Eunice isn't our main character. That was good thinking, though. Do I have a volunteer who wants to go first to share some of the things they noted about their... Jet, you want to go first?
The first one was action on this page. So do you want me to read it?
Just read your note. What did you notice about... Tell us who your main character is.
Alan and Fritz.
Okay, and tell us, who are you focusing on? Because I had two main characters as well, but I only focused on Peter today. Are you focusing on Alan?
I was focused on
Oh, okay. Well,
but
tell us.
mostly Alan.
Okay.
The dog Fritz, Alan looked away and Fritz shoved out of the car. And the dog ran into the garden.
Okay. So you noted some action there. Tell Parker and Sean what that tells you about Alan, or what it could tell you about Alan.
So Alan is not the best at keeping watch of his dog. That's what I think. That's why I wrote that down.
Is there like one word that can kind of sum that up? Like, I noticed a lot of the dialogue in mine was negative, and so I used the word pessimistic to kind of describe all of those things. A negative outlook. Is there a word that would describe him not? You said that he looks away, Fritz takes off, so
He did not pay attention to his surroundings when he looked away.
okay. Can y'all help him think of it, like just one word that would kind of sum that up? I don't know if it's distracted,
Distracting.
unfocused maybe. In there. All right, guys. When I get you next time we meet, we're gonna continue to read, noting the characters, actions, thoughts, words, feelings, and when we get into our text map, we will have our post-it notes there ready to help us fill it out. Okay? Everybody mark where they were. You have a post-it to mark where you are.